Alrighty guys, this is Evan PC here, and this will be my first video on this channel. So, I just recently bought a GTX 970 reference edition from NVIDIA. Now, I know that these cards are fairly new, and they're not widely spread. So, as I wanted to go, of course, overclock it, because these cards are beasts at overclocking. Now, I went to go look for a general guide because the last graphics card that I had, in particular, was an AMD card. There were guides on the internet of, what the maximum settings. Now, we're going to be doing a nice quick and dirty overclocking here with MSI Afterburner. So, nothing to do with, having to really tinker around with any BIOS settings. These are totally legitimate, quick and easy overclocks. But there were no videos other than unboxings on this card. So, I took the liberty and went ahead and did some research. Now, there's not a whole lot. On the NVIDIA forums, it just suggests that you should go and tinker around a little bit, which, I mean, if you're a tinkerer, go ahead. But I had to went through the liberty of crashing my system a few times, figuring out these limits. So I tested it on a couple of games. So basically, it says on the NVIDIA forums to do plus or minus a few, and then if it crashes, go back in and subtract, a few. But before we get that far, what you're going to need to install first is MSI Afterburner. Now, if you don't have it already, this is the best software by far, even if you're not going to overclock. This software allows you to control fan speeds and fan curves. Also, you can monitor things. Comes with a great runtime server for checking your frame rates. That's not Fraps, so I know Fraps is another common one, but anyways. So basically here we have all these sliders, and these are the particular numbers. So if you're looking just to get a quick dirty overclock, go ahead and type those numbers right in. Now, this card actually surprised me, because on the AMD cards, the entire overclocking sliders are different. So it was a little weird for me to get used to, being a first-time NVIDIA user, because all of the settings are in increments of plus or minus very small numbers. As we're with AMD, you could put these sliders all the way pretty much to the max. Plus 1200 was very common for the core clock on mine, but it's not in the same increments with NVIDIA. So I tried doing the same type of overclocking situation with as my old AMD card that I just replaced, and that result was not good. My system crashed almost immediately. So be very careful when you're doing this. Now, the known thing you can always max out is the power limit. Now, I only have about a 500 watt power supply that'll stretch to maybe 550 watts. So I have a little bit of room, but not much. Now, basically, no matter what you're going to do, is you're always going to want to put maximum power limit. So that basically just allows the card to draw as much power as it needs. It's not going to be always drawing, this particular much. It's going to allow the card to gain a little bit more power when it needs it. But the main thing is the core clock in megahertz. So it already comes with a core clock of whatever your card is. So this is the AMD card in particular, and it's this one that we're talking about. So here's my card right here. I'll put a link down in the description if you'd like to purchase one. I'm, not getting, I guess, free advertisement for NVIDIA, but basically it's got 4 gigs of GDDR5, and it's got a particular core clock I don't have memorized for from out of the box, but it's pretty good. However, we want to get it and take advantage of that nice potential. Now, basically, somebody Steam messaged me. Apologize for that. Basically, what we're going to want to do is, if you'd like to go further than this. Now, this cooler in particular, which is the Titan cooler, this cooler doesn't push very much air, and it does make the card very hot. So just keep that in mind, that this card will generally run hotter than other cards. So that's not good. Heat is never good, because if you look over here, we can see our GPU usage, and this card will thermal throttle. Now, there's many videos about thermal throttling, but basically thermal throttling when you're in a game, if your card gets too hot, you're maxing it out, you'll actually see a dip. And I have this up in particular because I was just testing this. But you'll see a dip, and it'll dip down, and it'll come back up as soon as it gets cooler, and it'll come right back down. So we don't want that to happen. So you can set your fan speed to automatic, and this only has one fan. It's the blower style cooler. Now, in particular, I set this one to 62, and I have it running all the time. Generally, my system is completely silent. I have a I have the H440, so it's dead silent all the time. However, I'm usually using headphones when I'm on this computer, so I don't mind a little bit of noise. Now, it's not much, but I also never get the annoying ramping up of the fan, as where it's always at this light 52, so it's always staying really cool. So I don't have the temperatures up here, but that'd be another cool thing you can do, and you can set these in the settings to whatever you want. There's a million different things you can set these to. But basically, for the core clock on this, I found that plus 55 worked great. So I tested this in CSGO, which it's not very heavy of an application, doesn't take a lot of your system. But I mean, it's a popular one, so I mean, if you play that. I also tested this on Arma 2 Operation Arrowhead. Now, this game is a little bit older, 2008, 2009. However, the mods are current, so these mods are quite demanding on your system. And if you have ever tried to play this game on a laptop, I'm sure you could appreciate the frame rates. How they dip, and it's not a very well optimized game whatsoever. So I tried that, and that was the first thing when I tried, and it absolutely knocked out my system. Now, don't worry, your system's not going to be down permanently. You'll never break it. There's too many safeguards, but you do have to restart your system. So I mean, you'll have to power shut it down. It's a little scary, But basically, I found that the safe spot at the core clock was about plus 55 megahertz from the base clock. So now these, all you have to do is you can click on them, and basically what I've done here for you is just giving you an easy pass here. You just download MSI Afterburner and type in these numbers. Now, memory clock. So for those 4 gigabytes of GDDR5, so basically memory has a RAM in general, and system RAM too has a general megahertz which is the speed at which the RAM operates. And the faster that you have your RAM, I mean, the faster you're going to be able to read and write things off of it. So now this one shocked me that I was able to get this high, but I got safe around 600. I got up to 624, and anything higher than that, I started experiencing problems. So of course, there are little heat sinks there on those RAM, those little RAM modules, and those do get hot. So another thing is, maybe we want to kick it up to 64, if we're gonna want to, keep our fan speed. Now, you do want to apply this, save it to a profile, click save, and then make sure that this little bubble is checked. So that way when you turn on your system, your overclocking starts up immediately. And that's pretty much wraps up the quick and dirty overclock guide for the GTX 970 reference edition. Now, just keep in mind this card does get hot, and you're going to want to keep your fan speeds up if you are going to be seriously overclocking it. Now, of course, feel free to change these numbers, and there really is no fear of wrecking your card or anything in a serious manner. The most thing you're going to get is a little bit of a system crash. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.